Cheers, dear.
Cheers.
Well, this is episode, 101 of right now. We had 100, thankfully, that we shot in advance, and we were able to put that out on Monday. My voice is a little gravelly today, because I'm a bit under the weather.
You were leaning in.
I'm leaning in because, the world doesn't stop because my voice is not there.
And we will not be open next Monday because we are starting Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yes.
It's not a holiday we've typically done in the past, but we have started to do it this year.
Yeah. You made it sound like we started it.
Sorry.
It was our holiday.
We at Goulet Pens
We are participating.
Yes, we are participating.
In the holiday.
We haven't in the past. We are this year.
But today we wanted to focus specifically on one product today, which is the Pineider Ink Alchemy Set.
Yes.
Because we've gotten some questions about it.
This is the most expensive ink product we've ever had.
It is. And we've sold a few so far. So there's been some interest, but there's been a lot of questions about it. And I actually took some time this week to kind of mess around with it a little bit. So let me explain what the set is. Actually, why don't you explain? I'll save my voice a little bit.
Oh, I will explain.
Yeah.
So this is an ink mixing set, ink alchemy, because you take things and turn them into other things. So it has your cyan, magenta, yellow, black, or key in the CMYK, and a clear ink. So this is not just water, it's actually formulated with the properties of ink, but clear, and it's used to dilute the color. Sorry, dilute is the wrong word. To mute the color.
Desaturate.
Make it lighter, as opposed to water, which changes the properties of the ink.
Yes.
So you get a 50 ml bottle of each of the colors, and they come with an integrated eyedropper, which is key later. And you get 5 cute little empty bottles to store your favorite mixtures. I would recommend too, if you're going to be doing a lot of mixing, you probably get some empty ink vials, something like that. We do sell them by the 10-pack.
Kind of for this purpose, honestly.
Yes. With the built-in eyedropper that works, or you can use the ink syringe, whatever you'd like. It also comes with the Pineider pen filler. If we've talked about this before, but this has been really popular, really well liked. This is great for it's similar to the traveling inkwell of sorts. You basically put your ink in, and then you put your pen in, and you're able to get a complete fill. It's also great. Yeah, and it's portable. So it's a way. Basically, we learned you can't really fit a pen into these tiny bottles. It's just simply too narrow. I mean, maybe that's really narrow.
It's very narrow.
So pouring it into your pen filler is the way to go. There's a little sticker on here, the Pineider Snorkel filler. This attaches to many types of converters. We have a whole list on the site, but you attach it to your converter and allows you to get in there, which you can also use to fill from here, and get every last drop of ink.
We also have a whole separate video on that one.
Yes, so you get lots of accessories.
So the packaging and the presentation is really key.
Yeah,
here.
These are heavy bottles.
They're like perfume bottles.
Yeah, I was about to say they source them out from perfume. You can see the dropper in this one. So the idea, and you get all this literature with it too. You get this whole booklet. And it talks about, it has multiple languages in here. I think, it's just Italian and English.
Yeah.
But it tells you what's
multiple.
Included. It says it comes with a set of archive cards.
Yeah, they're in the booklet.
Oh, they're in the booklet.
Flipping.
It gives you some sample colors just to kind of get you started to see what you can do, what's possible. One tiny note, there are some typos here on the drop size diagram. It says 10 drops is equal to 6 milliliters. That should be 0.6. And then 15 drops, 10, that really should be 1 milliliter.
Yeah, it's 1 decimal off.
Yes, because a full converter is generally not 6 milliliters.
No, that would be a large converter.
Yeah.
It's like an eyedropper converted Ahab. Basically.
And the same with the final one is the pen filler says 100 milliliters. That's actually 10 milliliters. So just a tiny little note there. So there are some cards in here, and you can actually take them out. You can put them on like a little ring if you wanted. It's a way to store what you did. So how many drops you did of each of the colors.
Well, I did percentage, not drops, but whatever.
Yeah, that works. So you can do how many drops, you can do percentages. However you do your math is up to you.
However you math.
And they did B for black instead of key and T for transparent. And it tells you how to use some of the other little things. You get lots of little cards here, and then, they tell you how to use the pen filler.
Yep.
And then there's more. I guess you write down like your favorites or something. we have even more in here.
Yep.
So
I know we got a bunch of questions kind of about the set. It is a rather expensive set. The list price is just under $300. We're selling it at 20% off because it's a rather pricey set.
yeah.
So it's about $240, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And you don't necessarily have to spend this much money to do this type of ink mixing. In fact, I've seen for years, like ever since we got into this business, people were using Noodler's inks to do their own kind of CMYK. I think it was Noodler's turquoise.
Navajo turquoise.
Shaw's rose.
Shaw's rose, yellow and black.
Noodler's
Yeah.
black. But there's no clear. But
well, I guess you could blue ghost, which would be interesting. And a lot of people also do the Diatramentis document inks, which are also designed to be mixing, and those are all permanent.
Yeah. So this isn't like, we're not hard selling this to everybody. This isn't
and
like...
the Platinum Mix Free, I guess that's called the mixable set. That was designed to do that too, but they had 9 different colors, so slightly different.
So it's more about the packaging, the presentation, the whole intentionality behind
all the
setting this up to be mixed.
Yeah. None of the others would come with,
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be like a household standard product for everybody, but I did mess around with the set.
I'll call it luxury.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely fits into that group. So I messed around. I wanted to test out at least the standard 4 inks that came with it, and so I did old school like ink reviews.
Wow.
Which I frankly
it's been a while.
I haven't done these in a while, but I was like,
did you do the clear?
No, that would be kind of pointless. I can show one at a time, Andy. I don't know how you want to best show these. Yeah, hold them up. So, first one was the cyan, which is actually a really nice blue, just in and of itself. Not a lot of waterproofness, pretty middle of the road in terms of wetness, flow, shading, these types of things. So that's the blue one. The magenta is actually rather pink. Not a whole lot of shading, just a little bit. No waterproofness. Felt just a little bit drier to me. Dry time's not amazing, but it's all fairly standard, which you'd kind of expect for a mixable set.
You don't want these to be crazy.
You don't want crazy properties from ink to ink. The yellow was very light, very not waterproof in any way. Felt the driest to me of the bunch. And then the black, it did actually have some waterproofness to it, which was kind of nice. And it felt the most saturated of the bunch. Also had kind of longer end of the dry time, which is not a surprise since it had a little bit of waterproofness to it. So that was each individual one, and I messed around.
You made and again, this is why I like our sample vials. We also give you sample labels with them. Yeah. So he recorded. Is that percentage or drops?
It's percentage.
So cyan 85%, yellow 15%.
Approximately.
And you made a like a deep green.
Yeah, like a turquoise kind of color. So I just basically looked at the guide and I said, oh, this is about the color that I kind of want to do. So I just kind of did just random mixture, which,
this is interesting.
Rachel likes to hassle me a little bit because back when we first started carrying the Platinum Mix Free set, I mixed yellow and purple.
9 colors to choose from, and he's like, yellow and purple, that'll be awesome. I was like,
and it was like a muddy brown. It was disgusting.
No, I thought, okay. In fairness, I shouted from the other room, it's gonna be brown. What are you thinking? It ended up being like more of a burgundy.
Oh, that's right.
And you're like, ha!
But it wasn't a nice,
and I'm like, really, you still any two other colors would have been nice.
It wasn't nice looking burgundy. So this time I used the guide, which was helpful for me. But I just created a nice mixture here, and I didn't go too crazy. And I just wrote with a glass dip pen because when I was trying to pound these out and to clean out the pen like 10 times would have taken me forever.
Oh, sure.
I did the ink reviews with an actual pen, so that was with a Lamy Vista with a medium nib, but this one I just did with a glass pen and then a Q-tip swab. And I swabbed a couple
it's like
times.
A nice motor oil one down there.
Yeah, so, I mean, the cool thing about it was you can really mix it however you want. And if you read the literature and you understand kind of just the basics of how colors work, you can kind of understand how you can change the mixtures and these types of things. And if you do it and especially if you have a glass dip pen, you can do it, or a Q-tip swab, you can swab it and you're like, oh, that's just not quite the shade I want. You can add like one more drop and you can change it. And
and then if you find that color that you're like, oh my gosh, this is my color, well then you can make like a whole batch of it and just use it all the time. You can name it, whatever you want to do.
Now, I will say in my own use, I was trying to go for small amounts of a lot of different colors. So the sample vials were pretty critical for me. It's less practical to do a lot of testing. There's only 5 bottles here.
Right.
So I couldn't have done like 12 colors or whatever I did. Without having to clean out the bottles and all that. So that's something you want to think about. I should give a nod to the clear. So I wanted to test. The clear did work, yeah. It was able to basically kind of desaturate. It added more shading. It did not drastically affect the flow. I didn't do like a super extreme test. I tried to do something fairly, I did like 10% ink and then 90% clear to see if I could see a difference between the clear and water. So I just used regular, like 90% water, 10% ink, and then 90% clear ink, and then 10%. So this wasn't a super scientific test. In terms of the end result, they look
similar.
Close enough. I mean, the flow was a little bit different, like just the water was a little bit drier.
Yeah.
It still totally worked. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, you can't function without this clear ink. But the clear ink does help to maintain the property because there's lubrication, there's going to be, biocide and some other types of things in there that will keep it more consistent.
Right.
But
you have to be careful when using water. Ideally use distilled water.
Yeah.
You don't want extra chemicals and minerals and things that could react.
Yeah, and I didn't do that. I just used regular tap water. But whatever. If you want like longevity or mixing up a large batch of it, you should definitely use distilled water, which I did not, because I was just testing it, and then I just tested out a mixture. I mixed up a couple different things.
That's pretty.
Tested out waterproof. Yeah, I was just kind of see. This was the first thing I did, and then I was like, I should do something more thorough, and then I did all the rest of it. So, just mess around with different colors, and it's a lot of fun just to mess around with. Quite frankly, it's like more of like a play toy, like a premium play toy, if that makes sense. But we did have some questions I posted on my own Instagram. People asking like, why is this set so expensive? A lot of it's the packaging. It's made in Florence, so it's kind of a premium type product. So it's definitely like if you're trying to get like bottom barrel most ink for your money, this is definitely not the product for you.
This would be the gift, very gifty for the person who has it all,
Yeah.
They don't have this.
Yeah, the presentation is fantastic. The box is really thick. The bottles are really heavy. Like, it just feels like a really good product.
And they will be making refills available down the road as well. So say you use all this up and you're like, man, I really want to make more, whatever. You don't have to buy a whole nother set. They're not available yet, but we are told they're coming.
Absolutely. And another question was like, what happens if you just mix all the ink colors together? You're going to get like a muddy brown black, but by all means you can do whatever you want.
Kind of like your
yeah, kind of like my little motor oil color there. And another question that we got was, can you mix these inks with other brands' inks? I did not test that.
Yeah, we don't know the pH level and things like that. You want to be careful if you're going, especially like that's where the Needler's Base State series comes in, because the acidity is so drastically different, or the basicness, I guess.
pH.
Either way, they're not neutral, so that's when you get into craziness.
Yeah, so Base States you only want to mix with Base States. These, I don't know the exact pH of these, so I don't know about.
We don't want to officially.
That's something we should ask about, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, so it's a more intentional kind of ink mixing, packaging, and presentation. So yeah, that should about cover it. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, leave your questions in the comments. Or you can ask our team if you're watching this on our product page later, because we're going to put it there. Yeah, but it's a pretty neat little set. So, and I know Dante's really proud of it, and he put it together, and it was a lot of fun for him to do. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, you can check out more about this on the product page at gouletpens.com. Thanks so much for watching, and right on.